Hi there and welcome to my channel. Today's project is for the Vicki Boutin design team, and this layout pretty much it's a mix between art journaling meets scrapbooking meets midnight at my place. Let me tell you a little bit of what I'm creating. I'm using a foundation paper for this particular layout, and I had this idea of brush strokes. I was just inspired, like honestly guys, it was around 11 o'clock at night, and I think I saw an image of a brush stroke and colors. So you know what, I want to create something. I just wanted to get messy. So all I'm doing is I pulled acrylic paint, like you see right now. It's a rainbow. There's if you see my blog, there's an entire list. I went from yellows to purples and everything in between, and I brought some white acrylic paint too, because I knew that I wanted to dull a little bit of the colors. All I wanted to do is create brush strokes and make it all messy. So all I'm doing right now is I'm using the water brushes. I'm trying my best to keep them as dry as I can, and all I'm doing is just picking up some of the paint and just literally stroking it on the page. And I'm going vertically first, or horizontally, whichever way. Vertically in this case, because I have the orientation of the paper. And in between, I am cleaning you're gonna see the water's gonna get really murky. I'm cleaning the paintbrush as I go along and drying it on the paper towel beside me. And I'm doing this with all the colors. And in between, if I see a color that is, or I see a strike or paint stroke, sorry, that is like really dark color or too heavy, I'm bringing some of the white just to tone it down. And also the white is helping me kind of mix the colors together without muddling and make them like all look brown, because if I put all those colors together it will look brown. But adding the white paint is helping me define the strokes and also the colors. And like I said, all I'm doing is trying to get the brush as dry as I can. And you can do this also not just with the water brush. You can do it with any brush. If you have the the watercolor brushes, that will work too. But in this case, I'm using the water brushes just because I looked for the stray brush. I did not want a round tip. I wanted a straight tip. And all I'm doing again is just, like you're gonna see right now, I'm in some parts I'm going above the other stroke. And the beauty of using acrylic paint is that it dries really fast. So but even though I'm using this is the Yeso foundation, the strokes of paint are drying fast, but not fast enough that I can actually add white and soften a little bit. And as you see right now, once I got all the vertical strokes done, I'm actually switching to a wider brush, and I'm going horizontally with the stroke. And when and this gives me a crisscross pattern, and you're gonna see that I wasn't careful in some parts, and my paintbrush is a little bit wet, so you see the paint sticking a little bit, being more fluid. You see it getting longer to dry, especially in the purple. You can see the water in it. And what I didn't like about this is it just didn't give me that definition of the stroke. So my solution was to bring some white paint and just go above it, and that kind of mixed it together and gave me that little strike or the stroke lines, which is what I wanted for this entire page. And that's it. That's all I did for the background. The only thing that I did at the beginning, if you saw it, is that I pretty much draw like really faintly with pencil the lines, because I wanted to keep it confined mess. That's what Vicki calls it. It's a confined mess. So I'm just, you know, keeping it to that straight line. I have no picture in mind. All I know is that, like I said, all I wanted to do is art journal meets scrapbooking. I wanted to create my own background, sort of my own pattern paper for this. And once I have all of these colors done, I'm thinking, you know what, this needs shine. So what I am choosing to bring, and you're gonna see it in a bit, is I am bringing some gold glaze. And at the beginning, when I brought the glaze, you're gonna see that I start using just a palette knife to run the glaze on the paper, trying to get the same strokes of the paint. But one of the things about the glaze, even though it's like, you know, very fluid, the consistency is fluid, it gives texture. And I didn't know when I introduced texture yet. So my choice to thin it out a little bit is I mix it with a little bit of the white acrylic paint that's still on the acrylic sheet that I'm using, and then I'm using one of the paint brushes just to create strokes. The same movement that I did with the paint, I am doing with the gold glaze. I set that aside to dry, and now I'm gonna introduce texture. And what I'm gonna do is, and you see me right now, I wanted to bring modeling paste. So my solution, I wanted to bring something white. And I thought about our iridescent glaze, but it has like a silver shine to it. So all I'm doing is mixing it with a little bit of the white acrylic paste, and that's gonna take away some of the silver finish of the iridescent glaze. I don't happen to have the glaze. So all I'm doing is working with what I have. And I'm bringing in the dangle stencil because I wanted those little tiny dots. I wanted, I don't know, I love little tiny dots, especially because I don't want a big pattern that's gonna lose the paint strokes. I want to keep it. So I just, small stencil will give me just some texture without taking the look of the background. And that's about it. I set it aside to dry for a little bit. And the more I looked at it, I started to consider these look like scribbles, something a little kid would have done. I like it, but it's just, so I found this picture of my nephew a couple of weeks ago. This is at Easter actually, and he's learning to write. He's the only lefty in our family. So you know what? I took lots of pictures of my nephew. He's only 4 years old, so I kept them, and this one was the perfect background. Just because it's colorful, there's a rainbow, and you know what? I love it. I love the fact that he's a lefty. He's so cute. So based on the little dots that I had on the background, and because the picture is black and white, I wanted to bring more interest to the background. So I chose to bring the circle stamps, the dotted ones, the two sizes, the medium and the small, and I'm using black ink and gold ink to just stamp random circles on the page. And you're gonna see that I took a few of them outside of the line of where I had defined my background, because I knew I want to put some clusters in it. Now, to bring more of the circle idea, I am using the rotary stamp, and it also has a line of circles in it. And I'm just using black archival ink just to add it. I'm just gonna marry all the circles in the background, in the texture together. At the same time, I started adding some of the sentiments from the stamp. I just randomly stamped them on the little confined space, just because I think I'm creating this. I just don't want it to look like little strokes. I want to bring some sentiment, and I think the pops of black on this colorful background actually works really good, really well. Now, once I was done, I was thinking, you know what, there's some parts where the colors are really faint or a little bit muddled. So what I decided to do is bring some of the art crayons, and all I'm doing is just scribbling some dashes just to break some of the color in some parts, to bring some color in other parts. And all I'm doing is drawing a few little dashes. The only bad thing is that I use my crayons a lot, so they're not as sharp. So in some parts, the dashes became a little bit thicker than I would have liked to. I think I even broke one of the crayons, and I'm not putting that much pressure, just they're so soft, so creamy, and but it worked. And that's pretty much it. You're gonna see the background. This is what the background looked like when I was finished. After that, super simple. I already had the picture. I used some of the 7x10 and the 12x12 paper pad just to add some simple layers behind the picture. And I'm taking advantage of the watercolor stickers. I wanted something very neutral. I didn't want to take away from the background or the picture. You're gonna see that I add just a few elements, some of the cardstock stickers. I'm bringing in some of the glitter foam stickers just because there's gold on the background. So I wanna make everything harmonious that works together. And like I said, all I'm gonna be playing is with some of the stickers just to add some sentiment to the page. And like I said, my nephew is a lefty, the first one in our family, so I'm just talking about the moment that I happened to have the camera and he was starting to write his name. Just to marry the idea of him writing, I brought some of the gold scribble ribbons, and I just cut a little piece, and then you're gonna see that I add a few little pieces here and there, and that's about it. One of the things that I have on my stash is actually I have some of Vicky's first release, and I have some of the ephemera and some of the tags still in it. So I'm using it just because I knew that pink, I had that ampersand and everything on that in my stash, so I thought it would work really well on this, and actually that. After that, I'm just creating the title. Again, I am bringing some of those gold thickers. I am bringing I'm playing with textures here. I'm bringing the gold thickers, and I'm also using the chipboard just because it's color and texture for this page. And that's pretty much it. All I'm gonna do after that is add my lines of journal, because again, like I said, I have to, for me to a layout to be complete, I have to add lots or little whatever on my journal, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just talking about the fact that he's a lefty, that I love seeing him write. He's so cute. But then when I started thought it was finished, I realized that the layout is a little bit bottom heavy. So my solution was to trim a little bit off the top that would push the layout up, and just to add a piece of paper at the bottom. And I chose this steel just because I want the picture to pop a little bit more. There's a layer of teal paper behind the picture, so it's actually gonna bring it together. And after that, I actually added a few, a small sentiment at the bottom, not sentiment, just a little cluster. I brought some of the yellow because there's a lot of yellow also in the background. And I'm gonna use my circle stamp again just to add, just to marry all the things, like all the theme of the layout together. And after that, I added some of the cardstock stickers. And one of the things that I did is actually brought this little bird that had a lot of the purples and the blues, and there's also some of those colors, and there was no sticker that had that, so I thought that it needed something else just to marry all the colors together. So I found this bird on the ephemera pack, and that's about it. I'm gonna say that I love this layout, that honestly I love it. It's confined funk, like Vicki calls it. It's clean but messy at the same time. It's sweet. It's super simple. It did take a while, not a while, it took a little bit to put together, just because it had to dry in between. But I love it. Simple, super simple. I love the sentiment. Check it. I always say that check Vicki's stuff. It's amazing. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care.